Hey, and welcome to another episode of Wizard's World. In this episode, we're going to look at how to protect your server workloads, your web apps, your websites that you've developed with two-factor authentication using Cloudflare tunnels. And what's going on right now in general is that there's a lot of enthusiasts now and home developers that are using AI in ways that, we haven't been able to do before to build apps, to build websites, and just building and developing things on their own in their own home labs. But sometimes as they're going through their learning process, they haven't really, have they put certificates on the front end and the back end? Have they encrypted their database? Have they done all the security work for these apps and these websites? A lot of times the answer to that question is no. And I'm going to show you now how you can protect those sketchy web servers that you're building, that you haven't gotten to the part where you're developing, securely. How can you protect that from the greater public internet? And so what you see here is a user is requesting a resource from the sketchy web server. And so this user's traffic goes first, instead of coming directly across, the public internet. It's going to hit Cloudflare, um, and come across the face of the Cloudflare tunnel down to the server that's running the Cloudflare tunnel, and then it's going to lateral across to the sketchy web server. And so if this was allowed to happen and you haven't secured this web server and you haven't enabled the multi-factor authentication, then potentially bad actors are coming up all the way underneath your natted firewall, and they're able to, what are they able to do? I don't know. If they gain access to the database or the web server or whatever, then now they're up underneath your natting and your firewall, and they could maybe lateral around and do some damage, or exfiltrate some data, those kind of things. So what we want to do, we don't want just anybody to be able to get to the face of this web server. We want some security up here, at the end of the tunnel, that stops bad actors from being able to even enter the tunnel to come down into the sketchy web server. So what we're going to do is we are going to enable multi-factor authentication, and that will force some two-factor up here that says yay or nay. This person is allowed to get to the resource. So for starters, let's just take a look at the resource. So this is, a point of sale application that I've developed, and you can see I'm able to get right to the logon screen. And I'd like to have some two-factor authentication set up in front of this resource here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my Cloudflare, and I'm going to go to applications here, and I'm going to click add an application, and it's a self-hosted application, and I'm going to name it Shearstein 2FA, and I'm going to set it for a month, and I'm going to add a public host name. My domain, that's a prerequisite for this. Your domain needs to be managed by Cloudflare, your DNS settings. And let's see, you have to have this one-time PIN set up as a login method. And I think that's it. Let's see. Oh, you can use a logo. That's pretty cool. I don't have a logo right offhand, but that is pretty neat. And I think we just save this. So there's our Shearstein 2FA. We come down and hit policies. We're going to add a policy. And the policy is Shearstein 2FA policy. We'll just say a month. We're going to say authentication method, one-time password, add include. We're going to say emails. I'm going to add my email, but you can add more emails based on, I think, comma separators here. And I'm just going to click the test policy and see what happens. I think that's good. Okay. Come back to our application. Let me double check this. Select existing policy. There we go. We need that policy in here. And then save the application. Also of note, here in the networks, if you click tunnels, you need to have this tunnel installed. So, this tunnel, coming back to this, lives on this box, and this web server lives, lateral across the tunnel. So when you bring up one of these tunnels, the reason they work is because they initiate the connection. 443 is allowed outbound. So they are the connection initiator. And then they just bring up the tunnel and just maintain it all the time. And so you always have a tunnel that's, trickles of traffic are going back and forth with Cloudflare. And that's kind of how that works. That's why, this natting and everything is blocked coming inbound. You don't have to open up any ports or anything, but 443 just needs to be allowed outbound. And then you have this self-maintained tunnel based on an agent that is installed. They have Windows agents, Linux agents, all kinds of agents. So let's just go ahead and see what happens. Did this work? And there you go. So we now have two-factor authentication. The people are no longer able to get directly to that website. And so I'm putting in my email, I'm clicking send me a code, and in another screen, I'm going to check my email. And let me make sure. Oh, I don't have my email. Yeah. Let me use a different browser. Oh, there we go. Okay. And the code has come. So I'm going to take that code. I'm going to click sign in. And there we go. We have our app, and we are now protected by two-factor. And that's all I have for this episode of Wizard's World. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this helps some of you enthusiasts out there out. And keep on deving, but protect those workloads with two-factor. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.